I do have a comment that's kind of interesting, kind of adds to some of the things that you're teaching there. And after I've been studying Genesis a bit, it becomes apparent.
I wonder what the is on that.
I don't know, it's just recent.
I'm getting feedback and everything else. Anyway, what I was trying to.
I do have a comment. That's
okay, I'm getting weird feedback now. Way delayed feedback.
Yeah, it's a big loop somewhere.
Testing 1, 2.
That's Monica.
I wonder what the is on that.
Yeah, Monica, you'll need to mute yourself if you're not talking.
Anyway,
No, I know there's a little mute button. There's a mute button up on top.
Move your cursor to the top.
There we go. I think that did it. Okay. Anyway, what I was trying to say is I believe that this false doctrine that people who have died are alive, I believe it's a lot more ancient than the Greek mythology. I believe that it originated even as far back as Abel. During that period of time, they believed people were alive because of what had happened during that time. If you'll remember what God had said to Cain after he slew Abel, and I don't have it memorized, I'd have to go find it, but Abel spoke from the ground. He spoke from the ground, and I believe people misunderstood that. And I also believe that that is related to the future coming of that seed, speaking from the ground. Anyway, you can put that together. I believe that false doctrine started back as far back as Abel. Something to consider, something to think about.
The story he told is actually an Egyptian story, and Paul mentions Jewish fables in his writings, and a lot of the Jewish fables came from ancient Egypt that they had there, and the story that Jesus Christ actually told about is like we think of Aesop's fables, except for they were Egyptian in their origin, and his whole purpose, it's what's it called, an allegory, and the allegory is to tell a story, which is actually a story, not a fact, in order to present a greater reality, and the reality is the fact that a risen person, Jesus Christ being raised from the dead, isn't going to make these people believe. They were stiff-necked. But the story can be traced back, I can't remember who did the work, back to Egypt, and it's an actual story that the Jewish people told at that time. So, Don, you were exactly right in the fact of this is something they believed. I thought it was very fascinating because how we get so religious sometimes because we can't talk about anything but the Word, anything but the Word, anything but the Word. And here we got our Lord and Savior bringing up a Jewish fable as an allegory in order to teach a point, in order to make a point. He also used the book of Maccabees a lot. He wasn't afraid to use current literature to expound the truth about God. And I think that we could learn a great lesson from that. Beautifully done, Don.
Yeah, I was thinking as you were teaching, Don, about they picked up this Hellenistic point of view, but you see, Israel picked up the point of view of every place that they were. They were in Babylon in bondage for years. They picked up stuff there. Mostly it came from Egypt. And, people want to blame the Catholic Church. You can't, because this goes way back before the Catholic Church everyone was thought of. Egypt, you may remember when they came out of Egypt and Moses was up on the mount, they started worshiping a golden calf, which was the god of fertility for Egypt. and it was the sexual god. And they picked it up from Egypt, and a lot of that stuff came out of Egypt. And that's why Israel always had such a problem, because they were constantly going back to these Egyptian and Babylonian beliefs that weren't based in the Word. And they were teaching that as truth. And even at the time of Jesus Christ, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? They believed in reincarnation. There's no place even in the Word that you could vaguely say that reincarnation exists based on this verse or that verse. So it was something they had picked up probably in Babylon, maybe even Egypt. Who knows?
Yeah, and even more so during the time of Saul, he went to a familiar spirit who was supposed to bring back Samuel, who's supposed to be dead. It all, and this was the reason why they weren't supposed to worship other gods. But it all strings back to that original lie of the two major lies. You shall not surely die, and you shall be like God. That's what's caused so much turmoil in the world today as far as religion is concerned. It's all of them, all of the confusion is because of those two lies. I'm going to have to leave. Too bad. Good teaching. Good. All right, Michael, God bless you, brother.
I think that was Monica. She had to leave. She was getting a lot of feedback in her sound system.
Now I can't get my microphone back. Okay, well.
We're hearing you fine, Alan.
Yeah.
I don't know what causes that when we get those garbles and feedbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
The system, this technology ain't perfect.
Yeah. I did notice in my searches that there seemed to be some agreement amongst the Orthodox Church, the common belief in the church, Christian church, regarding this paradise being taken to heaven when Jesus ascended into heaven. I have never heard that before. So when, and I was listening to the radio, there's this radio show I listen to on the way home from work, and they have a little question and answer period, and it's kind of fun to listen to what questions people have. And this person called in and said, where are all the dead believers from the Old Testament? Where are they now? And they said they're in paradise. And they explained how Jesus, when he ascended, really, he ascended, he took this paradise that was beneath the earth where Jesus went when he was dead for 3 days and 3 nights. They claim that he went down there when he was dead and took all these people back up. And so now paradise is not in the earth, now paradise is in heaven. I don't know how they get that.
Talk about make up stuff as you go along, Jim. I wonder where they pulled that out.
That is amazing. I'm trying to think, how in the world did somebody come up with it? And it's funny because I'm starting to see it and hear it in a lot of places, not just at that one web page. But I heard the same thing on the radio today from a pretty prominent theologian. Wonder when I didn't get that memo.
Yeah, that goes back to the earliest manuscripts too, Don, as far as that being played with, because you got in Matthew where it's written go and preach to all the earth in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And besides that, they never did that. They never did that.
Right.
So you look at that, and you look at the book of Acts, and you look at all the epistles, and you say, well, they never did that. So, but that is in some of the oldest writings. And then, what was the other one I was just thinking about when you were talking, and I lost it. God, I can't believe
One
it.
of the connections that they make with that is from Ephesians chapter 4, where Jesus talks about.
He sent it on high, led captivity captive, and gave gifts.
Yeah, he led captivity captive and gave gifts. And
Yeah. The other
that's where they get that.
Yeah. The other one is about when he died, all the tombs were open, and you had all these dead people walking around. And where's the witness of that? I mean, if all these dead people were walking around, where's the writings on that? Where's the evidence of that? So you look at some of these things that people wrote into the text because of believing they had 2,000 years ago. I mean, right up at the end of the time of the apostles and stuff, and you say, wow, this stuff. But as Alan said, the devil's been playing that card from the beginning, man. He got a lot of stretch out of that "Are the Dead Alive Now" thing. I got a funny one though for you. After we jettison off planet, "Are the Dead Alive Now" is not going to be a best-selling book because yeah.
It's like a ticket to a train that just left. It's worthless.
There's a couple interesting movies out that have depicted, the return and what happens in the immediate afterwards. There was the one with Nicolas Cage, which is a remake of the one with the guy from I don't remember the TV show, but there was another one. There was one called the Jerusalem Countdown, and it's kind of interesting because you're sitting there and suddenly all these light flashes go off, and there are cars going down the street with nobody in them. There are planes in the air with nobody in them. All kinds of things like that. And it's just an interesting idea of what's going to happen when that trumpet sounds.
Yeah, I've had some people ask me about the trumpet thing too, because there's the last trumpet referred to at the rapture, and then there's trumpets at when Jesus comes back, and there's trumpets in Revelation. And
Hey, throw this one at them, Don. The trumpets in the book of Revelation are done by angels. We're called at the trump of God. That's a good one.
Yeah.
No, that's a really good one there.
With
Great
the call, one. We have the call of the archangel.
Mm-hmm.
And the trump of God. I love that.
God, right.
Make sure it's the last trump.
Mm-hmm.
The last trump. Now, and there's something significant about that. I'm not sure because it said the last trump.
It has something to do with the Olympic Games. The way they use the trumps to call people to, like first call, last call. It's time for this event, time for that event, that kind of thing. Something like I think it has something to do. I read that somewhere. I can't remember where.
Sure, they aren't just playing bridge.
Yeah.
It fascinates me sometimes, when you're studying these things, that when error like this comes up, that the unbeliever just like the Pied Piper, they just follow along with it in droves. When error lies and error comes up like that, the unbelievers just follow it like droves.
I think there's a lot of hunger out there right now. uh, people are latching on to just about anything they want to listen to. We just
There's
got
a
to get
lot of
there.
hunger, but a lot of skepticism at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like they want to know, but it's almost like they're at that stage where it's like, okay, tell me, I really want to believe you, but I really have to be convinced. Like I mean, because they're at this. Everybody can be at this stage where they're like, gosh, ugh, man, everything's so horrible, but I really need to know if this is the truth or not, because there's so many things being said. How do I know what you're saying is the truth? Please convince me, because I'm confused. My head's swimming, So.
Hey, that sounds like me about 40 years ago.
Well, it's definitely going to take people calling out to God on their own from the heart, because I think about that in relation to the children of Israel enslaved in Egypt, and I compare that to what's going on today. People do not realize they are enslaved and don't know what they're enslaved in, and until they get to the point where they call out to God for help from the heart, that's when they're going to start getting the answers that they're wanting.
I know John Touchstone kind of laughed at me for this, but I'm sure you guys were there when I was like asking if the teaching was like about the doomsday stuff or is about like, because to be prepared for what is to come. And I was like, my head went to Halloween because I'm thinking, on this particular subject, okay, it's on this subject as far as like the dead and the afterlife and everything like that. Like, I'm sorry, but this is a huge, okay, this subject is enough to prepare for what is to come, because there's so much, like, this is like the biggest battle during this time of the year when everybody wants to glorify the living dead and the death or the life after death concept, and like this is when it's the most glorified. And so to me, I'm thinking it was worth preparing for, like what is to come. I got laughed at, but I mean I'm serious though, because I mean come on, how hard it sucks. It's there's a lot of persecution, and it's hard because I mean I have my, there's friends of mine that are into it, and there's, family of mine that are into it, and it's, and they're like, they mean well. They're not like, so that's why it's hard. It's like, crap, like, I know if I say something, they're just going to be like, shut up, Chandra, I just wanted to talk to you about this, or like, why, you know what I mean? Like, stop judging me, Chandra, because I've gone through this before, and it's like, I don't want them to think I'm judging. It's, you know what I mean? So it's like, is this where I need to use discernment as far as, there's a time to speak and a time not to speak, but then sometimes when you're not being persecuted about anything, something's wrong. So, I don't know. It's like, I want to keep the peace, but I don't want to be a coward? Which one, you know what I mean? So I get confused during this time, like, as to how to handle and approach different
Your
things.
microphone's starting to fade.
Yeah, you got a bottle of scope.
Well, in
I wonder
those
what causes
situations, if
that.
you can hear me, in those situations, John Lynn said it best. He says, give them an hors d'oeuvre and see if they like it. If they like it, and they'll want more. And if they want more, then feed them another hors d'oeuvre. But
So how do you give them an hors d'oeuvre? You know what I mean? Like for instance, like if somebody's posting something that's obviously glorifying death, okay. Do you comment with an hors d'oeuvre on that post that they make? or do you private message them an hors d'oeuvre?
Ask Father.
That would be your discernment, how you want to respond.
I know, because most likely, I mean, because people are so defensive so easily,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like, I mean, I automatically, just out of convenience, just want to comment on the thing, just because I want to show an example to everybody else who may be watching, and maybe other people will think I'm judging them and whatever, you know, even though that's not true, you know, I'm doing the best I can to be loving about it, but it's like, I don't know, I don't know, because a part of me wants to do it because for other people that are watching, they can be pissed about it, fine, but they can, the seed can be planted at least, like, you know, well, you know, and they may not give any, you know, they won't be convicted at that moment or anything like that, but it's like at least the seed is planted, and so maybe the next time they hear it, maybe they'll actually consider looking into the truth about it. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like some people have to see it 2 or 3 times before they actually finally consider looking into it.
Yeah.
Freedom is a crazy thing. Every situation demands its unique remedy, and in order to find the uniqueness of each remedy, you have to walk by the Spirit. Period. I mean, that's what Jesus did. That's what faithful believers have done before us. You have to go to the Lord and say, "Do I heal him or kill him?" So.
Right. And I guess I'm so conflicted by either one. Because I'll just be like, okay, is this nudge I feel? Is this just my emotions that are happening right now? You know, because you can have a righteous anger about something, but you can also react emotionally that may not have been appropriate to that righteous anger. And so it's just kind of like, okay, I need to know if this nudge is, sure, it's righteous anger, but am I reacting emotionally, you know, or am I supposed to be bold right now and let him have it? Like, it's like, but I don't know.
Question.
But you can be a leader too, and you can teach by asking questions as well, and find out what do they really, you know, because some people, they say stuff and then they're just parrots, you know, but maybe there's really a question that they have deep down, and it's really hard sometimes to use the old scalpel, so to speak, and get that out of there. It's like Michael said, you just gotta. The best way to do it is love is the motivating force, and then just say something.
What's the hardest ones? The hardest ones? I mean, it's not a surprise or a shocker when you see posts from other people that, like, you know, they're not into the whole church thing, Bible thing, you know, they're not, like, you know, they're not into it. And so it's not too much of a shocker to see them posting stuff like that. But sometimes when you see your friends that are, you know, are Christian, you know, they're believers, and when they post things like that, it's just kind of like, ah!
Now you know how Paul felt about Jerusalem.
Huh?
Now you know how Paul felt about Jerusalem. He loved them. Those were his people. And
Yeah, like, it just pains me. And it's like, I mean, I want to say something, but how? I want to ask a question, sure, but I guess, I don't know.
It's just an idea.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tools in the old toolbox. You just got to try them all, see which one works.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I handled this the right way, but like one of my friends had like a AC/DC, like apparently they went to a concert and they had AC/DC devil horns and you know, went like this, and I know she's a Christian. So I was like, hey, so what's the devil horns about? And and I said, and I might have been, what's that not sarcastic, but what's the word I'm looking for? Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Not sarcastic, but
It's sarcastic. That's okay. You can be
no, well,
sarcastic.
no, I mean when I say do they worship the devil or something? Like, and so, well, I mean, it was a legitimate question because I mean,
There's
they're,
sarcasm in the Bible, Chandra.
you
Mhm.
know,
You gotta quit making. You don't have rules. You've been set free. Walk by the Spirit. Whatever irks you, go for it. If you have Don beautifully laid it out. As long as your heart's in love, God will show you if you made a mistake. But until Christians start working the Spirit that's within them and walking by revelation with word of knowledge and word of wisdom and implementing the power and the 9 manifestations that they've been given, there'll always be that. It's just like praying. You don't get good at praying until you start praying. You don't get good at walking by the Spirit till you do it. So as long as your heart's based in love, and again, Culp laid it out, man, you God will work with you with who you are. Your emotions are His emotions when you're in love with that person. Your anger is His anger. Your uh, consolement is His consolement. So when you look at a person and really want them delivered, what you feel is the right thing for the moment, and you just got to walk with that and ask God, what do I do, and then go for it.
yeah.
And don't worry about making a mistake. Don't worry
Don't
about it.
Yeah, speaking in tongues, prophecy, word of knowledge, word of wisdom, you got to do it. You got to go for it. You got to exercise that part of your being.
Well, and well, just so you know, I was so relieved that the result was okay for this one. Like the response, yeah, the response was not negative or defensive or anything. It was more like a explanation, followed by an LOL, which is always like, ending it off with a lightness. And so I'm like, okay, good. Like, I was so scared I was going to, like, upset or offend her. I don't know. I was just so glad it
But
was
if
like,
that's the standard for success, then Paul, Jesus Christ, and Peter were some of the biggest failures that ever walked the planet because everybody turned against them.
yes, it's
Do
always.
they even know what they're doing when they do this? Do they have any clue at all? I'll
Right.
bet they don't even know. I bet they don't.
I thought that meant I love you. This means I love you in sign language.
That's what I've learned.
I'm from
Is it?
Texas. That means hook 'em horns.
Well, yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
I'm from Babylon. That means I
Well,
worship.
I think there's this, and then there's this. This would be I love you, I believe. But then there's this, and that would be something different. But if they're doing that, and they have devil horns,
Yeah, if they think
they
that's
say I
sign
love you
language,
too.
I'd check that out. I'll have to check that out.
But yeah, good old sign language. I mean, it could
Mhm.
say a lot depending on what you're doing with your fingers. Gang signs.
Because what was it? I don't know if this is true or not. I saw it someplace, probably Facebook. But at the end of a speech, President Bush did that, and
Yeah.
everybody in the audience, he was in some foreign country, and they did not take that well. Because they all knew what it was, and he had no clue.
There we
He was
go.
insulting them.
Is that wait? I'm like trying to like bend my fingers.
Incidentally,
Yeah,
in sign I love you is I love you.
Well, there could be different. Yeah, but in sign language, there's always like different ways of saying it.
like slang.
Yeah, we have our slang. Sign language has theirs. Anyways, wait. Ooh, there's that.
Like whatever this is.
Gang sign.
I'm afraid to do half this stuff, because I don't know what it means. I can flip somebody off in some foreign language for all I know.
No offense. Forgive our ignorance.
Mhm. And I know there's signs that that homosexuals use to identify themselves too. I don't know which ones are which and what they mean. And so I just avoid all that stuff. But that's me.
Update. Okay, yeah. Before I forget, Monica, she had her video playing. She did have the video playing in another window, and it was just like messing stuff up. But she does want to come. She does want to be here in the beginning for the introduction of the Hangout crew every Monday night. So if you can like send her an invite or something
Okay.
yeah, put her on the list or something.
Yeah, well, the list is in my head.
All right.
Bad place to store it, but that's where it is.
But yeah, I had to remember to tell you that.
I'll invite her at the beginning from now on. My bad. I'll sit here and condemn myself, okay?
Okay. Yes. I love talking about people in front of their backs. Like, so that way she could, like, listen. We were talking about her, and she can't do anything about it. We're talking about you, Monica. Hey, Monica, we're talking about you. You can't respond. It's just fun. Anyways, I love you guys. An update. Thank you for your prayers when you pray for me. My sleep is getting better. Hopefully, I'm getting a handle on it. I'm starting to I'm trying to go to bed at like 8 p.m. I know that's early for me, but I'm like trying to go to bed at 8, and then I think I somehow go to sleep at around like 10 or 11 or something, and then I end up waking up at like 3 a.m. But it's way better. It's way better than it's been. Like I'm kind of going to sleep during the time I'm supposed to, and so that means I'm actually awake during most of the time I'm supposed to. So it's getting better. So please, I would like to ask you guys to keep praying that it continues to get better, because it is, yeah. But the only thing is, I think my husband caught my insomnia. I didn't think it was contagious, but I think he got it, because he's like, now he's up all night, and I'm not going to bed until like 4 or 5 a.m. and then sleeping all day like I used to, and so it's like we kind of switched there. I was like, I'm sorry, you caught my insomnia. I didn't know. I'm sorry. But yeah. Anyways, so pray for him too. Please. That'd be great.
Okay, Sandra, you got to switch your microphone settings again.
Okay.
Well, God bless you guys. I'm going to go ahead and go.
All right.
Okay.
It's been a great teaching, Donald. God bless everybody.
Good night, Al.
God bless you, Al. I love you. Alrighty then. And I guess might as well I'll take off too.
Yeah. Well, I should have some more questions for you soon, Chandra.
Okay, yay! And now that I'm starting to get my swing back, I'll be catching up on stuff. So yay!
I think I have 5 segments, 3 to go. Yeah. We're
What,
getting
Don?
there.
Alan, or Dawn,
Yes.
Colt, the next week's mine,
Yeah, you can take next week if you want it.
Acts of Progressive Revelation. Hey, Peter, what'd you know?
Hey, Peter, what you know? Okay.
Hey, Peter,
That's cute. I love clever titles.
I couldn't think of one for Abraham's bosom.
I just used Abraham's bosom and then put up a picture of a house sitting on a rock. And it says, build your house on the rock.
Awesome. That works.
Now I'm all trying to think. Wait, how do you describe? Okay, sorry, I'm sorry. Describe a bosom again, like because there's the breast, there's people who say bosom like like cradled, like how do you describe it?
I think the way they were trying to define it in the commentaries that I was reading, and based on the Greek words and all that kind of stuff, is it's basically just your side or your chest, or you're just laying on somebody like that. Just that whole trunk area from the waist up.
The trunk. See, the trunk is referred to the butt. Like
Oh, yeah, not that trunk.
oh, because the trunk is like the back, the back side.
That's
Trunk.
the caboose back there.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't think of any clever title for the bosom.
The core, maybe that's a better word. Your core from your waist up.
Core would be actually probably a better. Do the modern translations get it different, or do they all say bosom too?
I think they all use the word bosom. But funny enough, this is the only place in the whole Bible where it's used. I figure. Abraham's bosom. That's it right there. Nowhere else. And yet, now they make a whole doctrine out of it.
What can rhyme with bosom? Bosom.
Bosom?
I was just thinking, like, if all else fails, think of something that can rhyme with it, and then like put a rhymey word in it.
That's a good idea.
Rhymey bosom.
I think would bosom maybe be figuratively the heart,
That's possible.
the seat of the personal, like, or the protection of the.
Michael's looking it up.
That's what he does. He's real good at that.
What's Bollinger say?
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Fold of a garment used as a pocket. The upper part of the chest where a garment naturally folded to form a pocket. The bosom. Intimacy. Union. Yeah.
Let me check the entomology dictionary, see what it says.
You don't keep it all to yourself. Screen share.
Yeah, let me find it first.
Oh. Okay. I like being nosy. It's like I like to see how you get there.
Let me check. There we go.
Well, there aren't many words that rhyme with
Be
bosom.
like getting intimate with Abraham. I don't know.
Up close and personal.
Abraham getting intimate. Abraham's intimacy.
Getting intimate with Abraham.
Okay, here we go. D.
That would intrigue me if I saw a title like that, getting intimate with Abraham. That would intrigue me.
It'd probably make you check it out.
Yeah.
Probably get a lot of hits with that title.
I'll be like, intimate? How do you get intimate?
Yeah. Some of them are going, ew. He's odd.
Getting intimate with Abraham's bosom.
Oh my.
It just doesn't sound. Let the imagination wander before you click play. And hey, you guys, stop having dirty minds.
Hey, we're just trying to understand what the word means, right?
Yeah. bosom intimacy.
There used to be a TV show called Bosom Buddies.
Oh yeah.
Bosom, there you go. Old English, breast, womb, surface.
I guess it's a context thing.
Yeah.
Bay, what's a bay?
It's translated in Acts for a
Womb,
code.
breast.
Wikipedia's probably got a really good answer.
Okay.
Not.
Maybe you should put that up so everybody can see it.
That's my last name in Greek. Kolpus. I'm just a bosom kind of guy.
Hey, I'm kind of glad, like, with this new rotation of my sleep or whatever, I've actually been able to go to, like, a couple of the Sunday fellowships. And that's pretty
Sunday
cool.
morning ones? Yeah. They are great.
Yeah, I do enjoy them.
Yes, well, when John gets in there and he really teaches, it is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I really liked what Corey was teaching or sharing today on the. I'm gonna post up that When All Plans Fail. That's the book he was inspired the teaching that he shared, and I looked it up, and
When everything else fails.
well, he sent me the link to the book. I don't know. The book was called When All Plans Fail. So I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't know. It's like $15 for, like, I guess, like a hard copy, but it answers the questions: what common disasters do I need to prepare for where I live? It's from a Christian perspective. It's written from a Christian perspective. The core of the book is directed toward helping you as an individual prepare yourself and your family for the days ahead. When All Plans Fail also speaks to the unique role churches can play in disaster preparedness. In times of crisis, Christians and the church can and should play a vital role in responding to those in need. The church is a natural haven in troubled times. And let me see here. So the questions that it answers is: what common disasters do I need to prepare for where I live? How do I prepare myself and family to respond to these disasters? How do I take care of my family members with special needs, including children, elderly, and handicapped family members? What emergency supplies do I keep in a grab-and-go bag at home, my car, and workplace? What steps do I need to take to make evacuation plans? How do I prevent how do I go about planning disaster response with my neighbors? I mean, it goes on and on. It's really cool. And the fact that it's from a Christian perspective, to me, I was like, right on.
Sounds like what we did back in Y2K, getting ready for the big
Yeah, that's what
power crash.
he talked about that too. This was the link that he sent me. This was the book. I don't know. It gives you all that. And there was like a plan. I'm really interested in it. Like somewhere on here it talks about. Let me see. There's a 21 days you will be well on your way to being prepared. Wait, you will. Gosh, I can't read. I'm so blind right now. Following the guidelines of When All Plans Fail, you will create your own personal family disaster response plan. In 21 days, you will be well on your way to being prepared. good planning will relieve much anxiety. I don't know. That's pretty.
That's true.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know how many times Stephen and I keep talking about, we need to do this. We need to get this. We need to do this, you know. It's like we'll talk about it, but like, you know, and I don't know, every once in a while we'll like do something to contribute to whatever we have, but there's no real structure to it. There's no real, like, I'm having anxiety over what happens if an emergency happened, you know. So I think it would just be really cool to be on the same page. Just, here you go, here's a plan, some structure.
So your microphone's fading out again.
All right.
Kind of reminds me, there was during 1978 and part of 79, Christine and I were living with Frank and Karen Strawhall. And we went up to International this one night for, it was a 40th anniversary or something. And basically what it boils down to is Doctor told the Corps to get ready because something was brewing. Remember, Jimmy Carter was president, and Ted Kennedy spent about 2 months deciding whether or not he was going to run against him. And it was at the end of that 2 months when whatever was supposed to happen would happen. Now, nothing actually happened, which is, even Corey said that, you know, a lot of times nothing will happen. Because don't forget, Revelation is subject to change depending on changing circumstances unless it's been given twice.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we had people doing all kinds of things. Like, we bought 100 pounds of potatoes, which is a big mistake, because half of them went bad.
You
That's
have
a
to
lot of potatoes.
build a potato launcher.
Yeah.
Start planting, plant them all in your backyard, grow some potatoes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we
I don't
bought a
think the
generator.
landlord would.
We bought a generator that year. First time. Didn't
yeah,
use
it's
it
like,
for about
as we're
5
doing
years.
it, it's like little by little you collect little things to go towards it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then you live in Brooklyn where there's no. I don't know where I'd store anything if we tried to get 3 weeks of food in here.
Right? I know.
There's no room.
Right. And if we're supposed to like grab and go and head for the hills or something
Well,
like that.
hey, if it turns into grab and go, I hope you guys find a great place. I'll just sit it out, and if they come for me, they come for me.
How big is your building where you live, Donald? Are you?
It is not big at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe the size, Don, you would know. It's maybe the size of the first floor in the apartments we used to live in Delaware.
Mm-hmm. I mean, are you
That's
like on a 5th floor or a 10th floor?
No, we're on the first floor.
You're on
We're
the first
floor.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's just not that
Size-wise.
much space here.
Yeah.
So there's no place to really store things, so you have to be selective about what you get.
Well, it's just you and Christine now, right?
No, we got 2 daughters living with
You
us
still
too.
have 2? Ah, okay.
That'll crowd things up real good.
Yeah. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 very small bedrooms. Anything in the city is small.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love those shelves. Wait, and you can't even put a lot of shelves up because if you don't own the place, then you can't put up shelves.
Right. Right. And we'll do the best we can. That's all we can do. If something happens, like I mean, when Hurricane Sandy hit, we're actually in a very good spot. We're a mile inland, at least a mile, maybe a mile and a half inland, so that if the water did come up and flood, like it did in a lot of places, it wouldn't bother us because water would have to rise so high to get to us that it just isn't going to do it under normal circumstances. Even with a heavy storm, it doesn't get that doesn't come up that much. In fact, we live right near one of the evacuation spots for people who have houses that go underwater.
Oh, wow.
Wow, yeah.
All right, well, I am going to
well.
get you guys.
Yep, I think I'm done.
Yep. Yeah, time to turn this off so it'll finish processing and maybe I can get a coffee made tonight.
Ooh, good luck with that.